All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We've got a special guest. Kevin, tell us about it.
What's up, guys? We are with the super middleweight boxing world champion, undefeated world champion, Caleb Plant, joining us here live today. And we're doing something a little bit different today, which is we are talking to, obviously, we're real estate professionals, we're business people, and yet we're talking with a boxer, a very, very successful boxer. And really is we're looking at the comparison, right? The real life comparison between an entrepreneur, real estate professional that's in the trenches every day, like in the potentially quote unquote ring every day, if you will, right? And we're dealing with our struggles and our challenges. And I think sometimes we use these metaphors like, falling up and getting back down, or falling down and getting back up, dealing with struggles, dealing with adversity. So we thought, like, what better person to bring on? Caleb's been number one. I mean, first of all, he's world champion. He's been through so many different things in his life. Like, if you've looked up Caleb's story, just a horrific tragedy that happened with the passing of his 2-year-old daughter. And yet he's here every day, putting in work, fighting and winning, and highly successful. So we thought we'd bring him on, and I mean, that's kind of a long intro, but wanted to say thanks to Caleb for joining us today, man.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys having me on. And I think it's a great point. Boxing is something you can really compare to life because, I may be undefeated and champion of the world, but throughout life, I've been knocked down many times. And I'm sure everyone tuned in, I'm sure they've been knocked down in life at some point too. But just like in boxing, you get knocked down, you got to get back up, you got to keep going.
So Caleb, how do you do it, man? Like, how do you maintain a positive mindset when you deal with so much adversity and you've had like the disadvantaged upbringing and the loss of your daughter? Like, how do you maintain a winning attitude and a positive mindset through all that adversity?
Well, I think, a lot of the times when things don't go exactly the way, people try to make it a little more complicated than it has to be. And really, at the end of the day, it comes down to two decisions. And that's either you can quit or you can keep going. And, life can slow you down, and it's okay sometimes. Some days we're going to move slower than others. Some days we carry more weight than others. But at the end of the day, you can either quit or you can keep going. And I'm not really into quitting. And there's no way that I'll have made it to where I wanted to. There's no way that I'll have become a world champion if I had quit through those adversities, and of course, no one ever wants to lose their child. And earlier this year, I also lost my mother. My mother was shot and killed. And, so you never want those things to happen. But other trials and tribulations that I have been through, if I would have had it easy, then I would have missed those lessons along the way. Those are lessons that I would have otherwise missed out on that have helped me not only become the man that I am, but the athlete that I am, the entrepreneur that I am, the person that I am in general. And I think a lot of people, they want to skip out on those things and be able to, take the elevator instead of the stairs. But when you do that, you're missing out on super valuable lessons. So
I love that, man. I love that. So we recently interviewed Gary Vee, and one of the things that he said was, do the right thing and put in the work. It's really the oldest trick in the book. And you're an epitome of putting in hard work, because what you do isn't easy. Yeah. And everyone wants success as something super simple, the silver bullet, right?
Yeah.
And how is it that you go about getting to where you've gotten to? Is it in increments, or do you just go all out and do it?
Well, I think anyone, just relating it to specifically what I do, anyone who's ever laced up a pair of boxing gloves and been halfway serious about it, then the goal was to be a world champion one day. But it was never, for me, that was just a goal. It wasn't the goal. So I have many more aspirations. I want to become a unified world champion. And what that means is there's 4 world titles in each weight class. And right now there's 4 guys in my weight class who hold one of them. But if you hold 2 at the same time, then you become unified. And if you hold all 4 at the same time, then you're the undisputed super middleweight or whatever weight division you may be in. So, I try to take it one fight at a time. Like right now I fight, this Saturday, February 15th on Fox, but And I'm not looking past that. I don't care about any other future fights. I don't care about fighting anyone else right now. The only thing I care about is the man that's in front of me. Because sometimes, so to answer your question, kind of yes, in increments, one fight at a time. Because, you know, if I get to looking at everyone else's plate of food around me, I may look down at my plate and it could be gone simply because I didn't focus on the task at hand. And that's something that my father's instilled in me from day one. Focus, focus, focus. You have to focus on what you want. And so one fight at a time. I think everyone has long picture goals and, you know, end goals, but when it's time, you know, pick up your lunch pail and go to work, you got to focus on the task at hand. So
it's really interesting. You talk about focus. You and I, Tristan, we talk about it all the time. And in business and in real estate, it's really easy to have shiny object syndrome, right? Like the latest and greatest thing comes up. Maybe even in boxing, like there's maybe different supplements, or I don't know what you guys do, but like it's really easy to lose track and get off track and go down the wrong path. And for someone at your level of success in the world in boxing to say that focus is important, that means a lot to me, right? Because that tells me if I want to do things at a high level, I need to be focused on the task at hand. Mm-hmm. But in your opinion, like, what does it really take to be a winner? Like,
well, you know, kind of going off what both of y'all have said, you know, since talking about Gary Vee, like the greatest new thing will come out. Maybe it's for boxing, it could be a recovery system. It could be, you know, a nutritionist. It could be a massage therapist, or, you know, in real estate, it could be whatever new shiny thing you said that comes out. But at the end of the day, nothing's going to be sharpening your craft. Nothing's going to be hard work. Nothing's going to be being dedicated year round. In boxing, a lot of times you find guys who, you know, for a world championship fight, that's an 8-week camp. So they live life to the fullest. And then when it's time to go into camp for 8 weeks, they try to be disciplined and dedicated and healthy. And, you know, but outside of camp, they go to the club, or maybe they have an unhealthy lifestyle. They stay up late all the time. They blow up in weight. They get too big. And then in 8 weeks, they try to get in shape. They try to make weight, and they try to get their boxing skills sharp. And you cannot do all three of those things in 8 weeks. So I just think by staying ahead of the competition by being dedicated year round, if there's something that you really want, then when you wake up in the morning, you're going to have something inside of you that feels like it's pulling you towards what you want, you know, as opposed to getting up every day and having to, man, I don't want to do this. And I have found what I truly love, and I think that's the secret in life. A lot of people go after what's going to make them famous or what's going to make them the most money. And the secret to being successful is finding what you love, whatever it may be. If it's from being a janitor to being a world champion to being a realtor to being just find what you love, and every day you're going to wake up and want to do it, and you're going to want to work hard at it. And it's going to be easier to make those sacrifices. It's going to be easier to stay dedicated to it. And I'm just lucky to have found what I truly love at such a young age. And at 9 years old, I didn't want to be an astronaut or the president or a school teacher. Since I was 9 years old, the only thing I've ever wanted to be was a world champion. And so through all the trials and tribulations and ups and downs, no matter what, I just woke up the next day and put one foot in front of the other. Some days I was able to move a little faster, and it felt like I was just walking on water. And then there's been some times where I felt like, you know, my feet were stuck in sand, and I could barely, you know, bear the weight. But the next day I got back up, and I just did it again. And if you do that for 10 years straight, there's going to be no way that you're not a master at what you do.
Absolutely.
It's the masters who get paid the most. It's the masters who get paid, you know, make the most for what they do, you know. So you gotta do more, you know, because as an amateur, I didn't get paid. And then when I first turned pro, I didn't make as much either. But if you work harder than what you're getting paid, then eventually you're going to get paid more than the amount that you're working, you know. So,
You know, one thing that you said, Caleb, reminded me of what Mark Wahlberg said recently, where he said, it's a lot easier to stay in shape than it is to get in shape. So why fall out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that makes sense for our business too, right? Because a lot of the times in business, because I'm going to relate this to boxing. Yeah. In business, we often just kind of feel like, oh, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay right now. I'm just going to coast.
Content.
And you You do such a great job, but I have a question for you in regards to that specifically. How do you stay, how do you find the motivation, or how do you stay motivated to continually keep on pushing and push and push and push?
I think that maybe for the people who become content, I think their sights are set too low. You know, if you don't aim too high, then you aim too low. And as I said, it was a goal to become a world champion. It was not the goal. I want to be pound for pound. I want to be, you know, a legend. I want to be the first undisputed super middleweight of all time. I want to become, and maybe not everyone may not like how I put this, but I want to become immortalized in my field of work. I want to be remembered forever. And
You want to become a legacy, man. That's what you want to do.
If I stop now, if I slow down now, I'll be quickly forgotten. And I just have my sights set high enough to where it's really going to be never ending. You know,
this is so amazing, Caleb. I'm getting text messages from people saying how much they love this, by the way. So again,
yeah, me too.
Thank you so much for doing this, Caleb. And by the way, guys, please follow Caleb on Instagram. We're going to be giving away a free pair of signed boxing gloves, right, Caleb?
Yeah.
So please go and follow Caleb on Instagram and hashtag real estate, so we know that it came through this. We're going to give away a free pair of boxing gloves. And then again, a fight this Saturday. We want, because of the mindset that you have and everything that you've been through, like we have a connection, you know, like I feel like in real estate, we go through these things too. And you're a guy that I want to cheer for, man. You're a guy that I want to cheer for. And that's why I'm getting text messages. That's why I'm getting people reaching out to me. So one of the things that you mentioned, I think is, and we just touched on it, but I want to touch on it again because I think it's very, very important. We can be the best at anything. Like you can be the best real estate agent. You can be the best boxer, right? And I think what we're talking about is it's very easy to take your foot off the gas. Like, right? And there's people in boxing that reach undefeated or undisputed or whatever, like you said, pound for pound. So I think kind of what I'm hearing you say, and tell me if I'm right or wrong here, when you get to a pinnacle, top point of what you're gonna reach, you almost have to like create new goals. You have to create new things to stay motivated. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this goes for the women out there too, but this is just a saying that I heard: a self-aware man is a dangerous man. So you have to know where you stand, and you have to be realistic about it. And you know, you can't think that you're the greatest if you're really not. You can feel like you're the greatest inside, and you can say that you're greatest, but you have to continue to work with that. That comes at a cost. You don't get to just say that and it is. You have to continuously work for that. And it's like, you know, every boxer one day hopes to fight for $1 million, or every real estate agent hopes to one day make a sale where they make $1 million. And you think, man, if I could just do that, I'll be set. But then once you become a millionaire, now you're at the bottom of another bracket, and you see that there are people who are multimillionaires. So now you're on the bottom again, and then you become a multimillionaire, and you think, then once you get there, you see, man, now I'm at the bottom of another bracket. There's billionaires out there. And then you become a billionaire, and you see that you're at the bottom again because there's multi-billionaires, and so on and so forth. So I'm a fierce competitor. I love to win more than anything in the world. I'm a fierce competitor. I'm a sore loser. I don't like to lose. So
Good.
Once I've gotten there, and I have, you know, in these increments like we talked about, and then I see I'm at the bottom of something else. And even though I'm undefeated, I've never been knocked down. I'm world champion. You know, and even outside of boxing, I have a lot of great things going for me. I just got a house this year. I'm married. You know, I'm healthy. But once I get to the next stage, I see that I'm at the bottom of another stage. And so then the competitor in me wants to beat the people who are above me there. And then once I get there, the competitor in me wants to, you know, and it's just a never ending. It's never ending.
How important, Caleb, is it to surround yourself with people that can help lift you up to where you want to be? Is it something that you strive to surround yourself with better people, or does it not affect you?
Yeah, I mean, I still have some of the same friends that I've had since I was a kid, you know, but at the same time, I have really, you know, tried to surround myself with smart, like-minded people who are also fierce competitors. Because if you surround yourself with a bunch of people who, you know, are okay with second and third place, then that could eventually rub off on you. And then y'all all just standing around talking about how it's okay and it's just cool to just be second and third place. But if you surround yourself with other people who winning feels like their only option, that they have no other option than to win, and that they're going to win, and put in the work to win, not just say it, but, you know, take the steps to actually accomplish that, then it starts to rub off on you more too. Hey, second place is not cool. Third place is not cool. I only want to win. And then, you know, you may have friends who are in different fields, and when they level up, you know, it's like a friendly competition. When, you know, my wife, she was a reporter for Fox, and she just had her first pay-per-view with the Wilder-Ortiz fight, Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz rematch. And that was her first pay-per-view. Before that, she had just done some Fox and some FS1 shows, which she's killed on that too. But after she did her pay-per-view, I was like, man, now I gotta kill it. You know what I'm saying? I got my fight coming up in February. Now I gotta, you know, blow the roof off of it. And then after I do that, then, you know, one of my friends who has Jesse, as we spoke of, you know, he has his business, and then it just motivates him to go harder. And then, you know, just so on and so forth. You try to surround yourself with people who are winning and wanting to win, and you kind of just motivate y'all. You know, it's kind of like a friendly competition just to keep leveling up with each other.
It's amazing, man. Well, I mean, obviously winning is important, and you've won a lot in your life, and you're still winning. I want to shift a little bit because winning's, of course, it's very important, obviously the most important to a world champion boxer in your career in athletics. But sometimes, I mean, you've been through a lot, that's why you have such an interesting story. Like, you've been through it all. Like, you've been through struggles, and now you're at the top.
Yeah.
And we don't always win, though, right? Like, we don't always win. There's going to be times when you lose. There's going to be times where you deal with disappointment. And in business, we deal with disappointment every day. As a matter of fact, I believe the more failures that you have, like the more no's you get, the closer you're going to get to a yes.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with disappointment, man? Because you've dealt with it all. I mean, I would think it's fair to say you've dealt with a lot of disappointment just with your past and everything.
Yeah. Don't get it confused. You know, I'm 19. I have 19 wins and 0 losses, but guess how many losses I had to take just to get 19? You know, I've taken more losses than most people I even know. And I had to take those losses so that I could remain undefeated in boxing. You know, those losses are what made me who I am. Those losses are what taught me, like we said at the beginning, you know, through those valuable lessons that I learned through losing, it helped make me a winner, you know. And so sometimes I tell some of our friends, you know, we'll get to talking, and I had to tell them, winners have to look like losers for a long time.
So true, dude. I love that.
People who are really winning look like they're losing for a long time because they're in the dark, they're by themselves, they're working, they're not out at the club, they're not with everyone, they're not at the bar on the weekends. They're grinding, they're working. And to everyone else, it may look like they're losing. Really, they're winning the whole time. Then eventually they get to a point where not only are they winning just like they have been, but now it's apparent to everyone else around them that they're winning too. People who are losing look like they're winning for a long time until that gets out of the bag too. And then it's apparent to everyone else around them that they really are losing. You know, you want to live life, you know, and you want to have balance. Trust me, I understand that. But until you get where you want, there's someone else out there who is not doing all those extracurricular activities. They're grinding 4 or 5 hours a day, you know, besides their daytime job. You know, there was a point where it was 9 to 5 and then 6 to 10.
Wow.
You know, I had to go work to get the bills paid. I had a disabled daughter. I had to get all that stuff paid. And then from 6 to 10, I was like Gary Vee has said this too. 9 to 5, that's your daytime job. 6 to 10, that's where you build your empire. And I have been, just until this year or this past January when I won the world title, until then, even though I was undefeated, just, you know, if you looked at me and who I was, it would look like I'm losing this whole time because I'm in the dark. I'm not out and about. I'm not shining, you know what I'm saying, and all this other stuff. But now everything's come full circle. And not only have I been winning, but now it's apparent to everyone around me that I'm winning.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that, man.
Congrats, bro. 2 things. One, you brought up Gary Vee, so we'll connect you with him by email. Sure. See where that goes, because you two guys like peas in a pod, man. You guys talk the same language, so it's beautiful. And then number 2, you brought up work-life balance, and I think I know what your answer is going to be, but I want to know what you think of that. When I say work-life balance, what does it mean to you? What comes out?
Well, It could mean, I guess the first two things that pop in my head, work-life balance could either be the work that you put in and the grinding that you're doing, and then balancing out with some fun here and there, and, you know, still trying to enjoy life and live life. But to me, whatever you're not willing to do, there is somebody out there who's doing it. Somebody who comes from a darker place, somebody who comes up from a more messed up background than you, who's been through more trials and tribulations than you. So if you're not willing to put in the overtime, I can promise you that there's somebody out there in your same field who is willing to do that, who is going to not only beat you, but surpass you. And so I feel, in my mind, till you've established yourself and you have, you know, a good base under you, you really probably shouldn't have too much work-life balance. Because the person there's someone out there who's not balancing that. They're just grinding nonstop, and they're going to beat you. They're going to win.
Well, what you're talking about is the competition, right? You're talking about the competition. We all have competition, whether you're a boxer, whether you're a real estate pro, you're a business person. And it's really like, we talk about it all the time when we're working with our clients, is like, if you don't get the business, somebody else will, right? If you don't go train, your competition will, and then they're going to beat you at your own game. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just, the relation or the comparison is
correlation is ridiculous.
Like ridiculous. So
if I'm not willing to run in the snow and the rain, there's someone else out there who is, because they want that belt. They want to be the world champion. And if I'm not willing to put in the overtime, and no matter rain, sleet, snow, or what I'm going through in my personal life, if I'm not willing to wake up the next day and still go hard, there's someone else out there who is. And if they do that enough times in a row, and I don't do those things enough times in a row, I'm going to get got.
Do you think the majority of boxers, high-level boxers, like feel this way? Because I'm a big boxing fan. I watch boxing. I've like followed boxing since I was a little kid. And like you said, there's some fighters that are they're winners, and then they take a break, and then they go back or whatever. Like, what percentage of champions do you think are like what you're talking about right now?
Not very many. Because a lot of us do come from very little. We come from a very poor background, and, you know, I don't claim to have the worst story. You know, there's people out there who have a worse story than me, but once they taste that, they want to enjoy what they haven't been able to enjoy for so long. And a lot of times they get caught up in wanting to be, you know, in the club or drinking, or, you know, spending up their money because they never had it, or they get caught up in wanting to be famous. And I'm not really into that stuff. That stuff never has really like made me tick. You know, I don't care about the praises. I'm appreciative for people who praise me and give me compliments. But when I first started training, there was no one else even in there but me and my dad, my dad and, you know, my head coach. There was nobody clapping and cheering me along. So I never have done it to be clapped at or cheered for. And because praises don't push me along, that also means the negative things that get said about me, those don't hold me back. You know, compliments aren't going to speed me up, and the negative, you know, things aren't going to keep me from where I'm headed.
So with that said, real quick, I want to ask, because I think there's a good segue. So praise, it's not about praise. It's not about, you know, being celebrity and all that. So we talk about in business a lot too, is having a why, like a certain thing inside that drives us to go. And a lot of people have different whys. Some people have very deep, very like inside, like in the heart why. Some people want glory. Some people, so like almost every top level person that I work with, that I've dealt with, always have, like, comes down to having something that's driving them no matter what. Yeah. So for you, do you have a why? And if so, what is it? What is, if there is one?
Yeah, I have a why. Man, boxing has been my sanctuary. When I was poor as a child and we didn't have anything, and I was a kid who, I've said this before in recent interviews, I was a kid who nobody would want to be. Nobody. But when we would go to the gym, all of a sudden, within the snap of a finger, got to become a kid who everybody wanted to be. Even, you know, as a young kid, grown men looking up to, wow, man, look at him, look how good he is. You know, I wasn't good at first. I first started off, I was like 1-4. And then I won like 19 in a row, and things just started to click. And then over time, I got better and better and better. And then, you know, we come to the gym, and I was someone who everybody wanted to be. But then when I walked outside that door, I had to go back to being someone who nobody wanted to be, and a lot of chaos at home. And, you know, uh, people can venture further into my story if they like, but, just a lot of chaos at home. But then when my dad would bring me back to the gym, then for those 4 or 5 hours a night, I got to be somebody who everybody wanted to be. And I just feel like I got addicted to that. And it was like a safe place for me. In the real world, we can't control what happens. We don't get to control, who passes and, who gets sick or, car crashes or whatever it may be. We don't get to control those things really. But in boxing, I get to, not that I'm like a control freak or anything, but I get to control what happens. I get to control what happens in that ring. I get to, I'm sure of what's going to happen. I'm sure of what's going to happen in the gym. I get to, just like a boxer, I get to control what's going on. And I just felt safe there, and that's been my sanctuary. So no matter what was going on, when I got to the gym, I got to be a superhero.
That's a pretty cool line right there, man.
That's beautifully said, man. As we're wrapping up here, I have one question for you. That's in the process that you have to work out. So in business, there are certain steps that we need to take, a lot of hard work, a lot of steps in order to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish, right? Like we said at the beginning, how clear is it what you need to do on a daily basis?
It is. Everyone knows deep down what they need to do. Deep down, everybody knows. A lot of people get comfortable with lying to themselves, and they get so accustomed to it that eventually they look in the mirror and they don't even see it. And I feel like, I have a super guilty conscience. So if I take one shortcut, it'll keep me tonight. That's why I always go to try to go above and beyond, because if I take one shortcut, I won't be able to sleep that night. And it's simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. Knowing what you have to do is simple. Doing it is simple. It may not be easy, but it's simple. Everyone knows what they need to do. You know that you have to run. You know that you have to make weight. And doing those things are simple. It's not a complicated process. It's just not easy.
Yeah.
But nobody says it's going to be easy. Being champion in the world is not easy. Being the best real estate agent is not easy. So it's up to you if this is what you really want. If you don't, then you should quit and you should go find something that you do love. That way that it'll be easier for you to make those sacrifices. But if that's what you claim you want to be, the best, that comes at a cost. And you have to pay that cost. Success is rented. It's not owned. And rents due every day.
That's a great line. That's a great line. I want to ask you, man. So we've been talking a lot about very intense, like focus and training. And you're obviously, again, doing things at such a high level. That level of intensity, man, I could just see it in you. I wouldn't want to face you, bro. Like I would not want to go heads up with you. No, I wouldn't. But let me ask you, man. So let's lighten up a little bit. Like, what are some things that make you smile, man? What are some things that make you like happy, like outside of boxing, let's say, or maybe it is boxing. Just what is it that makes you kind of put a smile on your face?
Well, there are some things that ease up on and kind of make me happy. But I will say that, man, I love boxing with all my heart, and man, I owe my life to boxing. I would do anything for boxing. I would take my last breath for this sport. That's how much I love this sport. I would do anything for it. But things outside of boxing that make me happy. My wife, Jordan, she makes me, unconditionally happy. We're best friends. It's not just my woman, it's my best friend. And, but we like to go hiking some, we like to go camping, and, I'm kind of a homebody, though I like to just be in my house, staying low key. And we live, eat, sleep, and, breathe boxing. She's a boxing reporter. I'm a professional boxer. My father's a boxing coach. My stepmother is, loves boxing almost more than all of us. Really, boxing is all we do. I love it.
I love that, man. What's your most memorable loss as an amateur?
In the Olympic trials in 2011, I won the Golden Glove Nationals and then made the Olympic trials. And it came down to me versus the person who made the Olympic team, and I lost by 2 points. And yeah, that's something that still don't sit good with me. But
I love that, because that's fire, man. That's fire in your belly.
yeah. And I've tasted many defeats throughout my life, and that's just something that when it comes to boxing, I don't ever want to taste. As a professional, you have to take losses along the way. That's where you learn as an amateur. But as a professional, I don't want to taste that again.
One thing that might make you smile, Mario just sent me a text about the Impala he said you just got.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like old school cars, classic cars, muscle cars. I have a 1964 Super Sport, 1964 Impala that's almost done, and so
Nice.
I'm trying to stay focused on the fight, but my car is almost done, so that's got me excited.
Awesome. So speaking of the fight, when is the fight again? The fight's this Saturday?
Yeah, the fight this Saturday, February 15th on Fox. So whatever that may be for you guys, Channel 3, Channel 5, it's on Big Fox. And yeah, this guy, he's 31-2, 28 knockouts. So he's got a big record, a lot of knockouts. Wow. He's from Germany. He's coming to spoil my plans, but he's going to fall short. So.
All right, man. We'll be watching, bro, and go crush it on that day.
We're going to be cheering for you, man. We're going to be cheering for you. Make sure you guys, again, follow Caleb Plant on Instagram, at Sweet Hands Plant on Twitter.
Sweet Hands Plant on Twitter and Caleb Plant on Instagram. You guys will be able to check out the Impala on there soon. A lot of cool things coming up after this fight that I'm trying to create and do. And, yeah, you'll just be able to stay tuned with everything I'm doing. So.
Awesome. I love it. So follow him on Instagram and Twitter. And Caleb, we'll connect you through email to Gary and see what you guys can do.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Thanks so much, Caleb.
All right, guys.
See you guys.
Bye, man.